Welcome to Screen Recaps, and today we are going to recapping the series The Prisoner. Michael wakes up disoriented in the desert, with only flashes of memories from his life in New York. He hears barking dogs and gunfire and sees an old man fleeing from a group. Instinctively, Michael helps the man into a cave, where the dying man asks him to deliver a message to someone named 554. After burying the man, Michael follows a distant light to a small town. He tries to get to a train station by cab, but the driver explains that they are in a village and only local rides are available. Michael enters a nightclub, but hearing the dogs again, he runs back to the cab. The driver, 147, takes him to 554, a waitress who recognizes the dying man as 93, a drunk. When the dogs reappear, Michael flees into a building, eventually falling unconscious. In a dream, a man in white calls him 6. Waking up, Michael learns that the village is his new reality. Michael decides to steal 147's cab and drives deep into the desert, only to discover that the dunes seem endless. A brief memory flashes of Michael at a diner in New York, where he flirts with a woman to invite her to his apartment. Back in the desert, 313 finds him unconscious and takes him back, insisting she wants to help him with his delusions. Upon returning to the village, Michael goes to 93's apartment, where he finds a hidden drawing of Big Ben in a bottle. 2 arrives, questioning Michael about 93, but Michael demands to leave, though 2 tells him there is no escape. Michael later learns from 554 that 93 believed his drawings depicted a life before the village. Meanwhile, a broadcast announces 93's death in the desert. Michael convinces 554 to reveal more, and she admits others in the village also dream of places like the Statue of Liberty. Michael attends 93's funeral, tries to share the truth, but is silenced by 2. He later hears about an explosion in Brooklyn before a diner in the village blows up. Before 554 dies in the hospital, she tells Michael that 93 instructed her to follow the towers. Despite 313's warnings, Michael vows to find a way out and runs back into the desert. Michael, trying to follow the towers, is caught by a white hovering ball called Rover, which induces more visions. Found by 16, who claims to be his brother, Michael is taken back to the village. 16 shows him a childhood photo and details about his scar, but Michael remains skeptical. 16 introduces Michael to his family, who treat him warmly. In therapy, Michael is distracted by thoughts of Lucy, who had borrowed his phone but never used it. 16 arranges for Michael to drive a sightseeing bus, where he provides commentary. Meanwhile, 2 visits the clinic, gets a negative report from therapists, and throws a grenade, insisting he just needs Michael to conform. Michael, feeling stuck, notices an anchor in the desert and later learns 313 stole his drawings. She apologizes, revealing her fear of losing him, which triggers another memory of Lucy. Michael, who previously worked at SummaCore analyzing security footage and patterns, begins to see the world in numbers. That night, 1112 asks his father, 2, about his childhood, but is told that memory is unreliable and to trust his family. Michael dreams of the beach and remembers his brother walking into the ocean. The next day, Michael takes 313 to the train station, feeling a connection. He finds an old box with a picture and a note signed 6, leading 313 to believe in the village's reality, but Michael is unsure. He recalls Lucy's comment that SummaCore still controlled him. Later, the winking woman shares she joins bus trips for ocean memories. Michael and 147 visit the anchor in the desert but hear no ocean. Hallucinating too, Michael drives towards the towers, finds the anchor again, and ends up tied up with a grenade. 16 helps him, revealing they aren't brothers, and that the vacation was a reward for deceit. Michael is deeply frightened, unsure why he's being targeted, but knowing it involves another place. Later, 16 joins Michael and the winking woman in their search for the ocean. They eventually find it, but Rover appears and attacks 16. Michael helplessly watches, remembering losing his brother in a similar way. When he tries to bring 313 to the ocean, only sand remains. He attempts to tell 16's family about the death, but they are too absorbed in the TV to listen. Nurses restrain Michael and take him to the clinic, where 2 mocks him until he admits his identity as 6. Waking up in the desert, 6 is picked up by 909, who warns him of the dangers. Reflecting on Lucy's escape attempt, 6 later meets 2, who reveals 909 as a spy. 2 recruits 6 for undercover work, starting with monitoring 1955, a history teacher. As 6 teaches at the school, he learns of the facade behind the village's hierarchy. He also finds 313 nervously admitting that deviations are harshly dealt with and ends their relationship. Meanwhile, 6's new surveillance class assignment is to uncover their real employer. That night, 909 and 6 see 1955 hang a towel outside, which 909 believes is a coded signal. They drill a hole in 1955's roof to spy on him with a tiny camera. When 909 gets a phone call, he asks 6 to fetch coffee from his truck. 6 discovers from 909's notes that he is a secondary target and that 313 is a suspect. Upon returning, 6 finds that 1955 has noticed the drilling and self-deleted. They drop the body at the hospital entrance and leave. The next day, 147 notices a large hole in the ground while playing with his daughter. 6 finds a hidden camera in 313's roof, while 2 finds one in his garden and blames 6. 2 suspects his son might be involved with 6. In the evening, 6 discovers that 909 is secretly dating 1112. He warns them to remove all surveillance from 313 or he will expose their affair. 1112 later informs 909 about his father's suspicions. 909, anticipating his fate, accepts calmly before 1112 fatally stabs him. Meanwhile, 6 finds 313 being taken away in a black van and, in desperation, seeks help from 909, who is dying. 909 asks if the dreams are real, and 6 confirms. A memory reveals Lucy questioning Michael about his resignation, concluding that he changed like those he observed. Later, 6 learns from 1112 that 313 is in the tunnels for treatment and asks to be sent there. Disguised as a patient by 1112, 6 is transported in the black van. In the tunnels, 6 and 1100 search for 313 but are swallowed by Rover. Men in White later return 6 to his apartment. 2 rewards 1100 with ice cream for spying but sends her for treatment after she admits to monitoring him. 6 dreams of Lucy, remembering how she begged him to return to the company. In the village, he discovers he is matched with 415, a blind woman who resembles Lucy. 2 blackmails 313 into betraying 6. The next day, 6 meets 415 at the diner. She says she lost her sight at 6 while she was asleep, probably as a result of trauma. 6, troubled by memories of Lucy, nearly kisses 415, whom he mistakenly calls Lucy. 415 accepts the kiss but leaves, claiming things are moving too quickly. Meanwhile, 1112 steals his mother's medicine and shows it to 313, who confirms it includes a powerful sedative, a hallucinogen, and unknown substances. Later, 147 shows 6 and 313 a large hole, which his daughter falls into and vanishes. The men in white prevent 147 from searching and fill the hole. That night, 313 injects 6 and 415 with a clear liquid under 2's supervision. The next day, 6 meets 4-15's father, who is eager for their marriage. 313 tells 6 that his feelings for 4-15 were artificially created using gene therapy. Despite this, 6 agrees to marry her. On the wedding day, 313 warns 6 of the fleeting nature of his feelings, but he disregards her. When 415, revealed as Lucy, flees to the desert, Rover intervenes. 6 finds Lucy, making her confirm her identity. Lucy confesses she feigned blindness to avoid suspicion and came to genuinely love 6 before kissing him. When 6 says he's cured of his feelings for her, Lucy reveals she was sent by 2 to break his heart and departs. 6 then convinces 147 not to jump into a hole searching for his daughter, but 415 jumps in instead. Michael's memory replays his apartment explosion after a breakfast outing, where Lucy had warned him of his impending execution and advised staying away from Sumikor, but he ignored her and returned. 6 confronts 2, accusing him of 415's death and vows revenge. Nearby, a man resembling 6 watches. Later, 2 reveals to 1112 that the village is in M2's mind and gives him a key to the medicine cabinet. 6, finding his apartment ransacked with a knife receipt and "Be seeing you" written on the mirror, learns from the shopkeeper that the receipt was for a knife. After 6 leaves the shopkeeper calls the clinic, alerting them. 6 finds 147 and tries to convince him that their earlier confrontation was with an imposter. Suddenly, 6 encounters his doppelganger, who warns him to kill 2 and attacks with a knife. 6 pushes him away, but the imposter vanishes. 6 is then attacked by 2's bodyguards for trying to enter 2's house. He warns 2 about the imposter, but 2 dismisses it as a projection of 6's feelings. Meanwhile, an announcement warns of a 2 impersonator, who is later seen buying banned cigarettes at the shop. 1112 awakens M2 with black medicine and they talk about the village. M2 hopes he'll realize it's all he needs, but he's disheartened by its limitations. As more holes appear, 1112 throws away his key to the other place in frustration. Meanwhile, after 6 returns to the village, he seeks out 1112 to protect his father. 1112, who resents his father, reveals his location but remains hostile. 1112 then finds the key and puts M2 to sleep. At the church, 2Hog6 confronts Untu, the village creator, but is stopped by 6, who urges him not to succumb to darkness. The doppelgangers are revealed as internal conflicts. Accepting his dark side, 6 reunites with 2, who returns home. Guards capture him, but 1112 identifies him as the real 2. The shopkeeper is taken away after 2 blames him. 313 discovers a glass door with a Sumacor logo in the desert, but flees from visions. In the real, Michael and the access guy explore the purpose floor and see profiles of villagers. Michael recognizes them and sees the tower. The winking woman informs Michael about his appointment with Curtis. In the village, 6 receives a certificate of dying and is told by 2 that he must choose between this life or none. 6 coughs while being haunted by flashbacks. 313, tormented by visions from another life, seeks a way to help 6. 2 warns her not to let the girl from the other place control her. 6 visits 1112, asking him to leave the village, but 1112 refuses. In New York, Michael's driver 147 takes him to another tower where he meets Curtis and Helen, the true 2 and M2. Curtis reveals the village is an experiment within Helen's mind, a project designed to improve lives using Michael's profiling work. In the village, 1112 smothers M2 and hugs her before disappearing. At the clinic, 2 taunts a dying 6 while 313 listens. When 2 finds M2 dead and 1112 gone, he mourns and puts 1112's body in a glass coffin. 2 seeks 147's help, asking him to support the idea that 6 is the one to end the pain. Curtis shows Michael the experiment's positive impact but dismisses Michael's concerns about consent, offering him a pass to the purpose floor. 313 pledges to save 6, agreeing to 2's plan to save him. 6, trapped in visions and haunted by Rover, refuses to see the exit door and flees. At 1112's funeral, 6, now looking healthy, tells 2 that the increasing holes mean they should free the people. 2 announces to the mourners that 1112 self-deleted and that 6 was right. They are all prisoners. As a hole appears, causing panic, 2 claims he doesn't know how to fix it. A kid throws a rock at 2, and 147 echoes that 6 has the answers. The crowd chants for 6, prompting 2 to offer a solution. A dreamer must replace M2 to stop the holes. In the real world, Curtis reveals that the real 313 is clinically insane due to childhood trauma, and that the village is her only solace. As 6 prepares to take the medicine, 313 consumes it first, claiming it's for him. Desperate, 6 kisses her in an attempt to reclaim the medicine, but it's too late. 313 and her real self collapse simultaneously. 2 announces he's giving 6 the village before pulling a grenade pin and disappearing in an explosion. In New York, Curtis finds Helen awake and healthy, ready to start anew. Michael, now head of Sumacor, takes a seat on the purpose floor. Meanwhile, in the desert, 6 and a sedated 313 look out over the village, and 6 admits it's beautiful.
I thought I was doing okay.